Hi there. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
And I'm James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James.
And tonight I'm going to talk about transitions. Why are they so darned hard?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But, and I mean, I'm talking about all kinds of transitions: marriage, relationships, age, retirement, moving, career, all kinds of stuff. But before I get into that, Sweet Baby James is going to introduce our show.
Yes, welcome everybody. This is Granny Rocks, where Granny shares her wit, her wisdom, and her very uncommon sense every Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. So stay tuned and thanks for coming.
Yeah. So here I am. We're on live, and there it is. Elizabeth said, "Hello. Our sound is doubling."
Oh,
Anybody else have a problem with the sound? It says there are two comments. I only see one that's
that's doubling the one.
doubling the one. I have no idea why. Could somebody else tell us if your sound is doubling or not? Because we don't get it. Anyway, um, so please, somebody tell us: are we doubling or not? Please put a comment in the chat. Anyway,
They're trying another
Cat is
device.
trying on another device. Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. All right, and see if anybody else has anything to say. I know we have. Oh, Amy says the sound is fine here. That's good.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is guess where we are? We are on our in our new house, and we are in the middle of a transition. I mean, we are talking about boxes everywhere. We just moved in. The movers started out yesterday. Great. The computer is fine. Lovely. Thank you, guys. Um, so, boxes were coming yesterday. The movers were here today. We're still in boxes. We're in chaos. And it's definitely a transition. We're transitioning not only to a new house, but a new city. And it has been very, very difficult. But I want to know why it's so difficult. I mean, what is it on an emotional level that makes it so difficult? So that's what I'm going to talk about. So anyway, we barely had any time to think about it. I just rushed over to the computer and it's working. Hey, this is good. New internet system, new everything. The first thing that strikes me about why transitions are so hard is that we have a lot of fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, let's say I'm transitioning from childhood to high school or college or something. All of a sudden, I may start thinking about how wonderful my time was at Leeburg High, or you know what I mean, or whatever it is, and I start to romanticize all of that, and I think, oh God, this is going to be so terrible. Ugh. Or supposing, on the other hand, I've been thinking, oh, I can't wait to get to college because it's going to be so much better than Leeburg High. Tracy said hello. Hello.
Hi,
She
Tracy.
sent a caring. So we may think that the future is going to be so much worse, or we may be romanticizing what we came from. Either way, we're scaring ourselves because the bottom line of why transitions are hard is the F word: fear.
Fear.
Fear we're going to lose something really wonderful. Fear, or we get into, oh, this is going to be so wonderful, and then it's going to be so disappointing. I mean, when we actually get there, it's like, ew, I don't remember that house looking like this, or, I don't remember that guy having bad breath, or whatever it is, that we're transitioning to. So we can either romanticize something and then we're disappointed, or we can romanticize our past and then we're frightened about the future that it's not going to give us what we've been looking for. Do you relate to that?
Oh, I totally relate to that.
I do too.
I mean, that happened for me in our recent moves. You know, when we moved from the two places back, Williams, Oregon, to McKinsey Bridge, I didn't want to let go of the customary, and I had fear of the unknown. And similar has happened coming here.
Right.
And
Well, I want to get into the fear
Yeah.
of the unknown
Okay.
for a minute, but the first thing that I mentioned is that we have a tendency to fantasize about either the future or the past. Bad news. Better to just stay alert and see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Another reason is that Todd said hi there. Hi there,
Hi,
Todd.
Todd.
Another reason that transitions are so hard is that coming back to what you were just talking about is we don't know what's going to happen. It's just like the unknown. Jose says, "Hi, Mama and Papa. God bless you. Nice to see you. It's so nice to see
Same
you
to
too,
you, Jose."
Mwah, mwah. So it's like, oh, Todd said, "Glad to see you in your new home." As it happens, my desk is facing the wrong way. So the next time you see us, it's going to be facing in a different direction, and we're going to hopefully have some pictures up and all of that. But we just really don't know what's going to happen. We humans don't like that feeling. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't like it. So we start projecting what's going to happen, or we just live in fear of what's going to happen. And what is at the bottom of our fear about not knowing what's going to happen is, I would say, our fear that we can't cope with whatever does happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're young and healthy and strong and you feel like you have your life ahead of you and you make a move, you might in fact feel like, oh, well, if it doesn't work out, we'll just move, right? We can't just move. First of all, we've accumulated a shitload of stuff that we need to just move, or we have to downsize. But what are we supposed to let go of, and what are we not supposed to let go of? And we let go of this, are we going to discover that, oh no, I let go of the thing that I really need, and I you know what I mean? Or I threw it away, or I'm dragging this and I just paid the movers to drag this thing that I'm going to throw away when I get there. So it's like, I don't know what to do. I just, every moment, and see, this is, I think, a very big part of it. Amy says, this is a wonderful topic. Thank you. Sending you lots of love in your new home.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy. It means that we have to be flexible. And we have to think and be willing to think. Adamina says, muy buenas noches, which means very good night, or, I mean, you know, a good night, very good. Dulces sueños, gente preciosa. That's good dreams, gentle, precious people. Un beso y un abrazo desde Honduras. A kiss and a hug from Honduras. Hello, Adamina. Hola, gracias, gracias.
Hola, gracias.
So, we have to be open to changing on a dime, to thinking all the time. You know, in science, there is this idea, it's probably Newton, I don't know, which is the law of inertia. Is that Newton?
That's Newton.
Okay. So the law of inertia is that if an object is already going in a certain direction, unless something stops it, it's going to keep going in that direction. And it says if it's sitting there like a lump, it's going to continue to sit there like a lump unless you do something about it. Well, see, if you think about the law of inertia in terms of people, we have a tendency just to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over, right?
Feels more secure, false security.
Absolutely.
Feels more in control.
Well, and we don't have to think. We don't have to say, what should I do now? It's like, Okay, well, I've always done it this way, one foot in front of the other. So I've always made, breakfast. Elizabeth said, also glad you're in your new home. Yes, we are sort of
Thank you.
halfway in our new home, I have to say. And we are so happy to be here. So it requires actually thinking. We can't have that. We can't think. There is, I don't have enough gray cells to think about everything at the same time. Oh, where does this go? Where does that go?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of
Hundreds and
things.
hundreds of decisions that we have to make all the time that require consciousness, where we have to actually think about what we're doing. I don't know too many people who really like to think about what they're doing. Do you? So that makes it very, very difficult. So every moment, and then of course if you have a mover, I'll have to tell you that if you're moving yourself, well, you would be insane to move yourself if you're in your late 70s, unless you're, Hercules and Hercula. But but the good thing about it is that it's slow, and you get to, what do I want to do with this? On the other hand, you're in chaos. So for weeks, months sometimes, people move and they're still in chaos. But if you have a mover and you're paying them by the hour and they have an obligation and they have a schedule, it's like, what are you going to do? Where is it? It's like, oh my God, I didn't cut. You think about everything in advance, but you can't think about everything in advance because, oh, this was in that room, but now it's in this room and that room. So you see, you have to think, and it's fast. And if you're slow or even medium, you have to think on your feet, you have to think fast, and you have to be right because you're paying these people to do it.
And the meter is running.
The meter is running. So it's like, whoa. But I mean, I'm only talking about moving, but this is true. Okay, let's say you're in a relationship and you're looking forward to being divorced or alone or in another relationship. You really have no idea what that experience is going to be like. Now, here's another point. Supposing you have actually done it before. Maybe you've been divorced before, or maybe you've broken up before. So you say, well, hey, this is not so new. You don't have to, you've had an experience of that. That could be the problem. You've had an experience of that, and maybe it was a lousy experience. So you say, oh no, I'm gonna die because, the last time I got divorced, I went into a deep depression and I almost overdosed on fentanyl. You know what I'm saying? So we have an experience in our body that tells us that that particular transition is a really lousy one. Or you went into a new career and you discovered that you didn't know your ass from your elbow and you didn't do a good job and you had so much to learn and all of that. So you may have had a really bad experience. Or, don't you love my ors? I'm always with the ors.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's never enough to have one thing. It's always an either or. So
You run out of hands. On the one hand,
that's right.
and then on the other hand,
Supposing
but then on the
other hand, supposing you had a wonderful experience when you transitioned to a new career. But how do you know that's going to happen again? You're already looking for signs.
Mm-hmm.
This guy doesn't like you, or this woman doesn't like you. So, even if you've had a good experience before, it doesn't mean you're going to have a good experience now. It's like, oh my God, every transition. It's like, oh my God, this could be a disaster. There could be a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I said this already, but if I said this already, it bears repeating in my estimation. I don't know if I can cope. I don't know if I can cope. There may be some challenge there that I can't cope with, or I won't know how, or anything like that. So do you see Are you getting what I'm saying? The anxiety starts to build and build and build and build. And we expect ourselves to do it right. We want to be calm. We want to be happy. We want to move towards this transition. Or maybe we don't want to move towards this transition. Maybe we're aging and we're transitioning to a quiet time in life, and that's not who we have been, and we won't even know ourselves. Do you have any other things to add to why transitions are so darn hard for you?
Well, in regard to relationships, I can remember having a marriage where when we split up, uh, I felt pretty lost for a pretty long time, and my self-esteem went down, and it took me about a year really to get back to where I had been in terms of self-confidence and functioning. So that's another example. You never know. You think, oh, it's going to be better when I'm on my own. I can do whatever I want, have all that freedom. But then all of these other things set in.
Yeah, and you're on your own and you have all that freedom, and so every mistake you make is yours. Jim said, hi, Beth.
Beth.
Is that Beth? Thef.
It's a little bit misspelled.
Hey, that may be. Maybe you meant to say Beth, or you meant to say thief. Jim, are we thieves in the night? So I think we've talked about why there's so much anxiety around transitions. We're afraid we're going to lose something that we really love, like our youth, and we're going to get this crappy body instead. Or we have this fantasy about we're transitioning into a residence. We are not in a residence, we're in a house. But we're going to transition to a residence. And Jim said, haha. I gather you did not mean thief. There is going to be a transition into a residence, and we tell ourselves that we're going to be so happy and so relaxed because other people are going to take care of us, right? And then when we get there, we discover that you can hear the people in the apartment next door. Or you, Jim said, let me get my glasses. It sounds like you are transitioning into old age or middle age, Jim. What can I say? Where you need glasses. Or you don't like the food they're giving you. You say,
one of the biggest things that happens is you think life's going to be easier and better and all that stuff, and then suddenly you've lost control of your life. The caretakers are calling the shots. They're telling you what you can do when all the timing, the schedule, the food. You don't have you were starting to talk about food. That's just another example of a loss of control.
Right. So I keep having a feeling here that I'm missing something really important about why transitions are so hard. And one of the reasons that transitions are often hard, not always, is that we didn't choose them. We are transitioning from our beautiful home by the river, and I have gotten my needs met there to a degree. Lots of chi by the river, that means life force energy. And I have been surviving on that. Now, supposing we transition to a city, and yeah, I have trees and it's really nice and all that, but I'm not going to have my river. And am I going to die?
We don't know.
We don't know. And until we do it, we won't know. And I do know one thing, that if I'm all messed up about the transition and resistant, I am not going to do well. And that is a fact, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Transitions are natural. Let's just think about that for a minute. Think about some transition that you're going through. Everybody is going through some transition, really. It's just inevitable part of life. We evolve and we're transitioning. You know, God once said to me that every transition is a transition to the next transition. And I know how I had my needs met before, even if it wasn't great. And I don't know how I'm going to get my needs met now. If I'm going into having my own business, is that scary? I'm not going to have a paycheck. Erica says hello. Hello, Erica.
Hello, Erica.
So we know how we coped before. We know what helped us. We know what nurtured us. We know how we survived. We don't know how and if we're going to survive once we make that transition. Well, how about let's get optimistic? Let's not get into fantasy like, oh my God, it's going to be so wonderful. And then, you're just totally, it's like you get married. Oh my God, it's the end of the rainbow. I finally got the guy, right? Or the girl, or the them, or whatever. I'm going to be in a position of power. Oh, I always wanted to be in a position of power. Oh no, everybody is holding me accountable. That really sucks. But to be able to acknowledge that the truth, that life is very complex, and that for each loss there is a gain, and if we only look at it positively, if we look for the gain, if we are invested in moving towards the future, then that transition could be really good. I've seen people transition into prison and actually find value in that experience, stuff that comes up for them that they never expected. So think about some transition that you're in. Think about the very worst thing that you think could happen. You want to do that, James?
I'm doing it.
And for me, one of the things that comes up is I always tend to be optimistic, but I could be very disappointed and I could regret. As I say, some transition we can't control. We age. Hard to control that transition. Though sometimes you see people are wearing clothes that they really should have stopped wearing 10 years ago. And let's embrace what is coming and have faith in the universe and in ourselves and in our ability to glean from everything what is valuable and worthwhile. And if you do that, you might find that transitions are fun, that they allow us to be more in the present of who we are today. That they bring new adventures. If I am willing to become a different person, I don't mean like on the inside it's some fundamental, like I'm a different person, but to have a different life experience and be impacted by that. I might see in every transition something good. So those of us who are old, some of us who are old, and we're scared of where we're transitioning to. But there's some wonderful things about old age. Jim just said, life is not easy, Beth. I'm with you, Jim. I'm a young widower. My wife passed last May. Ooh, 2020. I am alone now. I'm adjusting day by day. I am okay. One day at a time. Transition, adjustment, dealing with the loss every day. But I have learned to cook. Love you. Oh my God. I love that, Jim. And Jim said, thank you. I love that. Keep on growing. Find what you couldn't have in the old way. Keep on developing new parts of yourself. Keep staying optimistic. Keep exploring the present and the future. Keep faith in yourself. And we are here to support you. We love you. We want you to come back every Wednesday, 6:30 Pacific time. We live stream, and you can chat with us just like we're chatting with our wonderful viewers now. And if you can't do that, comment afterwards, and we will definitely respond to you. And Jim said, thank you, Beth, and thank you, Jim. And God bless you. That is a very difficult and painful transition. And you know, even in that, there is always something to look forward to, something to learn, something new. We love you. Come back next week. Like the show, love the show, and follow our page. God bless. And next time, we will be a little bit more transitioned. And Todd said, yes, thank you, Beth and James. And
thank you, Todd.
Mana Bendra said, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have to leave now, but watch the show if you haven't already. And pass it on to a friend. Please share this show. And thank you so much. Our first show from our new home, boxes and all.
That's
Erica
right.
said, transitions are easy when I face them instead of avoiding them. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. And we did not use this transition as an excuse to not show up tonight, even though we didn't even have our computer set up a few minutes ago. Jim said, may peace be with you.
And with you,
Peace
Jim,
with you.
as well.
Erica said, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye for now.
And here we go.